Young Christopher was christened just before the Second World War, as Herbert Merritt was poised to take over the club after a very difficult battle.
In 1938, he made an approach to the directors and said that he was prepared to make an offer. I believe I'm right in saying that offer was in the order of £40,000, which was quite a big sum in those days. And that was rejected, and a great deal of argument went on. There was lots of support in the press, and indeed cartoons in the press as well, for his attempted takeover, but it wasn't until early in 1939 that he actually gained control of the necessary number of shares in the club.
The Second World War soon intervened, though Corteralla remained a peaceful place. Christopher and his older brother Richard played their own little part in the war effort, as they grew up in these wonderful surroundings. Christopher, a very young boy when soccer restarted slowly in '45.
Cardiff, just after the war ended, were slotted to play Moscow Dynamos. Well, this was a big event, and I remember sitting in this box here, right up in the corner, squeezed in, and was horrified. Cardiff City won, Moscow Dynamos 10.
The inspired singing of Land of Our Fathers was the prelude to football's sensation of the year, the Russian Dynamo's 10-1 victory over Cardiff City. Dynamo got the biggest cheer they've had since they left Moscow Stadium from 40,000 Welshmen at Ninian Park, Cardiff. The Welsh boys gave them something to take back to Russia, a set of miniature collier's lamps in silver. They were a mystery side when they first landed in England, these Russians, but after what they did at Cardiff, an opinion has become a fact. They're a match for any side in Britain. They're a machine and not an ordinary football team. They shoot before they see the whites of their opponent's eyes. For sheer speed, there's never been anything like it. Nothing tired them. They were going just as fast at the end of the game as when they started. These Dynamos are dynamite. It was a lovely game. I cried my eyes out.
Cardiff soon recovered, though, under Herbert Merritt's guidance, and started their recovery from the 3rd Division South when league football resumed in '46-47, and they took that divisional title, ending with a 1-0 home win over Leyton Orient.
There's no doubt that he felt his major contribution was to get the club from the 3rd Division up to the 1st Division, and by 1952, City were in the 1st Division, and he was very proud of that. Very proud.
George Edwards was a stalwart to the post-war era, both as a player and later in the boardroom. A full international too, and with brains, not only in his boots.
I was writing a thesis on the coal field in Pembrokeshire for my MA degree, and Sir Herbert Merritt was an authority on coal because he was chairman of Powell Dufflin, and he wanted to see my thesis. And he read it.
George, 88 next birthday, played almost 200 games in a golden period.
We got promoted in '51-52. We'd been knocking at the door for 3 years. I came to Cardiff in '48. I think we finished 4th. And then a year later, we finished 3rd. A year after that, we finished about 7th or 8th. And it looked as if we were slipping. But the year after that, the 4th year, we got promoted. And we had a wonderful team, people like Al Sherwood and Billy Baker and so on. And we were in the 1st Division for 5 years. In 1955, I think they went down. We all got old at the same time. And this is a lesson for football clubs. When you've got a team that's established, you build that team up constantly. You don't let it all go together at the same time. But I had a wonderful football career, frankly, and I look back with a great deal of pride.
After retiring as a player, George graduated to the boardroom alongside Trevor Morris and Sir Herbert to make another mark on Cardiff City's history. He outlived the Merritt era.
My grandfather died in October 1959, and he left his controlling share interest to my brother, myself, and my mother. and we acted really as passive shareholders for some while. But as we were focusing more and more on London, we eventually decided to sell the shares to the directors in the mid-1960s. And to be honest with you, I've regretted that ever since.
The rest of the Ninian Park history story, both of club and country, must wait until a later date. But as one era ends, another begins. The new stadium is very quickly taking shape across the road. The work is actually ahead of schedule, a quite incredible feat in the current so-called summer. There'll be seating for around 27,000 when the stadium is open for business at the start of next season. The pitch will be going down in December, then there'll be a series of staged events leading up to the official handover. The concourse and potential hospitality areas are also well advanced. In 2009, it'll be down to the all-important people, the fans.
The club are trying their hardest to generate a great football club, you know, and a great football team as well. It just takes time, you know, and it needs money and it needs the supporters to support the club, and I just hope they come down in numbers so we can afford to have a top-class team to play there, you know. I just hope also that they knock Ninian Park straight down. I don't want it to be like a graveyard and looking across here at an old derelict building. I hope as soon as we move in our stadium that it's demolished immediately. I don't want to be coming back and forth for years seeing an old stadium.
The present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last. For the times they are a-changing.